This episode explores one of the most overlooked shifts in tech: how defense has become a new frontier for innovation.
From AI to autonomous systems, founders are quietly building in a space once considered off limits. This isn't about weapons, it's about systems, dual use platforms, and where public and private tech now collide.
$3 billion in defense tech funding sounds impressive until you realize that's just what one company raised in 2024. The transformation happening in this space is absolutely mind blowing.
You know what's fascinating about that number? Half of it went to Anduril's Series F round alone. We're seeing funding at a scale that was unimaginable just a few years ago. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg. When you look at the global picture, VC investments in defense related companies jumped 33% to hit $31 billion. We're talking about $12 billion just in AI applications, $4 billion each in next gen communications and autonomous systems. What really catches my attention is how this isn't just private money flowing in. The Department of Defense has put forward an $850 billion budget proposal for 2025.
Well, that's exactly why we're seeing this perfect storm of opportunity. You've got private capital, government backing, and here's what's really interesting: this whole new approach to dual use technologies.
Could you break down what you mean by dual use? I think that's a concept that's really reshaping the entire industry.
So imagine developing an AI system for military applications, right? But then that same technology ends up revolutionizing healthcare or logistics. That's what's happening now. These technologies are finding homes in both defense and civilian sectors.
And that must completely change the business model for startups entering the space.
Exactly. Instead of being locked into just military contracts, founders can now pursue multiple revenue streams. Like, you might start with a defense application, but then find your technology has applications in agriculture or manufacturing.
The shift at elite universities like Stanford is particularly interesting. Remember when tech workers were protesting defense contracts? Now we're seeing a complete reversal.
You know what really struck me about that? One Stanford graduate called it peak techlash. This moment when people got tired of optimizing ad algorithms and started looking for more meaningful work. Now they're viewing defense tech as a way to tackle bigger, more important problems.
That's creating quite a talent pipeline for companies like Anduril, Palantir, and SpaceX.
Well, and here's what's really exciting for solo founders: you don't need massive resources to get started anymore. Look at what Ozan Levov did with his biometric startup Iris. Instead of trying to build everything in-house, he worked with specialized contractors who eventually became CTOs.
The infrastructure costs have really come down too, haven't they? With tools like Cloudflare Pages offering unlimited bandwidth and DigitalOcean's affordable backend options.
Oh, and don't forget about DARPA's new tech accelerators. They're opening 5 new centers across the country: Austin, Boston, Arlington, Menlo Park, and Wake Forest. Their embedded entrepreneur initiative has already helped raise over $1 billion in private investment.
So, what would you say are the key strategies for solo founders looking to enter this space?
Well, first and foremost, focus on dual use applications. Don't limit yourself to just military applications. Think broader. Second, leverage specialized contractors and partners instead of trying to build everything yourself. And third, actively engage with DIU and DARPA's accelerators.
The formation of that defense tech consortium seems pretty significant too. Having companies like Anduril, Palantir, SpaceX, and OpenAI working together instead of competing.
That's actually a really crucial point. It's creating this ecosystem where smaller players can plug in and complement these larger companies rather than trying to compete head on. And with the dual use approach, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Looking ahead, what trends should we be watching most closely?
I'd keep a close eye on 3 main areas: AI applications, where we're seeing the biggest investment at $12 billion, next generation communication networks, and autonomous systems. But what's really interesting is how biotechnology is emerging as a key focus area.
The definition of what constitutes strategic technology seems to be broadening significantly.
That's right, it's not just about weapon systems anymore. We're talking about any technology that can enhance national security and military capabilities. And that's creating opportunities we just haven't seen before. Another thing worth mentioning is the rise of government venture partnerships. We're starting to see public private investment frameworks that accelerate not just funding, but also go-to-market timelines for defense startups. That's a game changer. Plus, there's growing interest in open source defense tech. Some founders are making early stage tools public to attract contributors and validate concepts before pitching to investors or defense agencies. That type of transparency is new in this space. And culturally, we're seeing a generational shift. Younger founders aren't treating defense tech as taboo. They see it as impact driven, mission aligned innovation. That mindset alone could redefine how the industry scales.
Totally agree. And what's also fascinating? We're seeing a lot of international collaboration happening now. It's not just US-based companies anymore. There are startups in the UK, Israel, Estonia, even Japan jumping into this space with unique tech angles. That kind of global participation changes the game.
It really does. And some of them are creating modular tech that can plug directly into larger defense platforms, kind of like the Shopify app model, but for national security.
That's such a good analogy. Modular defense tech. Almost like APIs for battlefield infrastructure. It's lowering the bar for entry and speeding up innovation. And it also means that these smaller players don't have to build end-to-end solutions. They just need to do one thing really well and make it interoperable.
Right. And one last thing. Let's not overlook the role of cybersecurity. With more data-intensive systems being deployed across defense and civilian spaces, secure architecture is becoming a key differentiator for startups.
Absolutely. If you're building for this space, security isn't a feature, it's the foundation. And having that mindset early could be the difference between adoption and rejection. Well, this has been quite an eye-opening discussion about the transformation happening in defense tech. Actually, I saw a comment on Reddit the other day that really stuck with me. Someone said, "It used to feel like defense tech was this locked door. Now it feels like a co-working space with the door propped open." That shift in perception? That's huge.
And speaking of perception, I noticed a thread on Twitter where a founder said, "We didn't even pitch the DoD, they DM'd us first." That's the kind of reversal we're talking about. This used to be unapproachable. Now it's inviting you in, if you're smart about it.
But before we wrap, let's zoom out for a second. If you're a solo founder or indie builder listening right now, what would it actually look like to take the first step into this space?
You know what's really exciting? We're still in the early stages. The infrastructure and support systems are just getting built out. 5 years from now, this landscape could look completely different. So if you're thinking about entering this space, here's a quick playbook. Start with a dual-use idea and something that works in both defense and civilian markets. Don't build alone. Partner with specialists. Contractors can become co-founders. Use a lean stack. Cloudflare Pages, N8N, Notebook LM, tools that give you leverage fast. You can build a working prototype in a weekend with these. Tap into accelerators like DIU, AFWERX, or DARPA's Embedded Entrepreneur Initiative. And go deep on one capability, modular tech, security, logistics, and build it to plug into the bigger ecosystem. The ecosystem is actually set up to help you succeed now, which is pretty remarkable when you think about it. So here's a question to sit with. If your current startup had to solve a defense or resilience problem tomorrow, what would it build? If that gets your gears turning, good. That's exactly the point.
That's where we'll leave it for now. We made this one for the curious, but we also create personal podcasts just for you. Tell us what you're into, and we'll turn it into a research-backed voice drop. Crafted around your curiosity, built from real-time insight, and packed with the signals that actually matter to you. It's your shortcut to staying ahead, without the scroll. The link's in the description, and if you like this one, a like, sub, or comment really helps. See you in the next one.